Art. So this movie, Fools, is a fascinating, I want to say a romantic drama, very serious in its own little way. Who came up with the concept and where did it come from?
Well, I'm the writer-director, and I did workshop it a bit with Mike and Mary, my two lead actors. The concept I had for a long time of just two people, they brush hands on a crowded L train, and a week later, without having exchanged any words, they're living together. She moves in with him. She's on the run from an angry roommate, and she just moves in, and they end up sort of making up the story of their romantic history as they go to sort of justify how they're living together so suddenly. It came from a number of places, it's that it was inspired partly. I was editing actually a competition dating show, and you'd see all of these people sort of make up stories to each other to justify why they were in love. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. It's like, in a way, these two people show up and they move in together, and it's like a competition dating show. It's like, yeah, you're together. Now see if you can make it work. So that's where it came from.
And then, we were living in Chicago and Ben was in LA, and we'd Skype back and forth different ideas, and he'd give us some scenes, and we'd read those out loud. And then he's like, what do you guys think about such and such? And we're like, I don't know, you're the writer, So it's like, so we'd kind of, we'd come with ideas, or just he'd ask us stories about ourselves. So it was really nice to like kind of make it personal for us and feel like, we're involved. And it was really great, kind of a feeling with that to involve us in the development of the script. I mean, in the end, he wrote the script, but it was really great to kind of like, and then to be like, yeah, I don't think that, and it was like, okay. And then the other side, he's like, oh, that's great. And then he'd run with something. And so it was really terrific. And yeah, so that's kind of our input into it.
Mike and I had worked together years before on a short film called Georgie Porgy that did very well, won a lot of festivals. So he and I had worked together, and I also knew Mary's work as an actor, and they were really old friends. So I had a really high comfort level with them, and it was wonderful to workshop and be creative with them, and to sort of come together to make this this passion project for all of us.
Now, I've seen the film, and it was quite different, but I also found it not really plausible. I mean, well, let me say this. If I was on a train and some girl touched my hand or my hand touched her and everything, all I could say is I probably would get slapped or, accused for sexual harassment. I mean, come on. I mean, how realistic can this be? Isn't this like there's a creep factor? I mean, it was mentioned in the movie. There's a creep factor involved in this, right?
What was interesting to me when we were editing, and especially when we were composing music, is there's this interesting question of so they brush hands, and then he follows her home. But in my mind, it's not that he's following her home so much as that she's leading him. And there's a real question between the two of them. Is he following or is he being led? And I think that's a question for him in the scene. Is she beckoning to him or is she not? And I think Mary did a wonderful job of portraying a character who was really... She got across sort of a mixed message about that it's like, am I leading you? Am I pushing you away? Am I leading you? Am I pushing you away? And I feel like that mitigates some of the creepiness to it. But you're right. I mean, it's a leap of faith for sure.
I had something to say, and then I was listening to that. Yeah, I have nothing to say.
Yeah. To Mary.
And I understand what you're saying as well.
And that's something you and I worked on.
We did. I mean, I love the fact that then the next time they see each other on the train, she follows him, which I think took a lot of the creepiness out of it as well. But, and I felt like Susan the reason it works with Sam is because it's not creepy and he plays her game. You know, he goes along with it. And this is probably the first person in her life that's actually done that, as opposed to reacting in a different way.
Right.
And that's why it works.
And I think, you know, I've worked with Ben, you know, however many years ago it was, doing the short film, and I think he's great at writing these things that are on the, you're like, you know, it's not edgy, it's like, it's on the edge of like, is this guy any good? Is he not any good? And really making it believable for the actors to play, you know, I mean, and you know, going in these weird places of where humanity usually isn't, a little dark. You know, there's the Sam's history of not having this father, making up things, feeling lost there. Susan's family history. So there's this drawing together of some bit of darkness, I think, and you know, two peas in a pod who are just weird little people who come together and touch hands. And yeah, I mean, you touch hands, but I mean, you know, and there are a lot of movies that kind of play with that sort of like, let's take this premise and let's go forward with it. And I just love Ben as a writer. I've been after Ben to do a film for 12 or 15 years since we did the short film, and we've tried it a couple times, and it just, and you know, and our lives went separately, and we stay in touch, and we've been to each other's weddings, but it was finally like, he sent me something, he's like, let's do a film with you and Mary. This is my wife, by the way, we're married. She was like, we are together. And it just went from there, and it's great, and I'd go anywhere he'd write. I just think he can take anything, and it was a real privilege to like get this script that he put together after amount of time to just go. It was a pleasure. It was a dream come true. It was a pleasure.
And I absolutely took advantage of that. I made Mike jump into Lake Michigan. I made him jump into an ice bath. I made him fall on the floor out a window. I knew he wanted to make the film, and I was willing to exploit that. But to circle back to your question, love at first sight always has the potential to be creepy. If it's not reciprocated, if it's not right, then it's stalking. But when it is right, then it's love at first sight. So yeah, you could brush hands with someone on a train and it would be really creepy. But if it's the right person, then it's love.
Now, like you guys mentioned before, the entire idea is to create these false stories and histories with each other. I mean, when I was watching it, I thought it was kind of odd that's the basis of the the entire relationship. For the two actors, did you guys kind of felt like a little bit different because it's not a direct type of dialogue? Like you have to go into this other world and trying to keep what's real and what's fake and so on. Discuss about that.
Yes. Yeah, it was challenging, and it was great, but I think we both sort of found, I think we became comfortable with it. You know, at times I had to remind myself that this is not true, like she's lying here, you know, because I think it's just, I mean, it's who she is, and it's not even, I mean, some of the things that she says are so obvious, you know, it's like, okay, well, we know that's not true, and some of it is, I don't know if she's telling the truth here or not, and I loved that, actually.
And I think a lot of that came through just rehearsing beforehand. You know, we had the luxury of rehearsal and sitting around a table with Ben and going, well, what's happening here and what's happening here? I think this is true, this isn't true. This is, you know, breaking it down, and then, okay, and you know, when are they closer together? What drives them apart within these fantastical, this woman coming into Sam's life and it just being like, who are you? And like, you did what? And just kind of playing that. And I think it's that sense of like when you meet someone and like, what are the games you play? Like Mary and I, you know, I'm sure there are games we play just, you know, joking around or word play or in jokes. And so it's all of a sudden them pretending they have this history, her pretending they have this history, and him, do I go forward? Is that, you know, the mating ritual of like, do you step forward? So that was just real interesting to explore and like bring my own self and our own views, and then Ben guiding us, and yeah.
Now, I was going to ask about the chemistry, but you revealed that both of you are married. Did this make things a lot easier or more awkward trying to develop a romance in a movie since you're both already married?
We're going to have two different answers.
Should she cover her ears?
No, not at all.
Cover his ears.
I was thinking about this, and I was like, I wonder if they'll ask us that question. It's easier because you know each other. I think the harder thing is to go, okay, like, when do you bring the relationship that you have and the history you have to a scene, and then when do you not have any preconceived notions about it? Because you know, we've known each other for 16 years or so. We've been knowing each other for quite a long time. So then all of a sudden you have these two people who are meeting, so you're having to be on your toes and what's new and what's reacting to them, as opposed to like, oh, I know all this and I know where this is going, we have this comfortable relationship. The good thing was we trusted each other and we could go anywhere we needed to go, whether it was emotionally, physically, kissing, whatever it was. So I think the advantage is knowing somebody and trusting somebody and having that. We've worked a little bit, but this was really the best time I've ever worked. It was my best experience, because I think sometimes it's hard. As you get older, you learn to leave the baggage of the marriage behind, and what's the work? What's going on right now?
Yeah, I definitely found it comforting and safe. You know, I did some stuff in this film that I've never done before, and Ben made for an incredibly comfortable, safe atmosphere, which helped. But then to have the person that you're acting with be somebody that you completely trust made it for me, I felt very safe.
Let me just say, I think that Mike and Mary did a wonderful job in Fools of being strangers. And as people who were completely not strangers, I think it was remarkable. I think it's, to me, as someone who knows that they know each other, I still find it completely credible whenever I watch the movie. I think they did a fantastic job. And ultimately, I felt so comfortable with them, and I think we all had real trust, and it made for an amazing collaborative environment. I don't think I could have made this film without people that I felt so safe around, which is interesting because it's really a movie about emotional safety.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first feature film for many of you guys? First directorial film? Okay.
Yes, this is my first feature.
Okay, but
you know, I wrote and directed this thing that I was in and Mary was in and a bunch of our friends were in back in 2007, but it didn't really go anywhere, and not, you know, and it was a great learning experience. But this definitely was like, you know, when I said earlier it was a dream come true, it's like I got to do a pratfall, I got to drive, I got to do my own stunts, I got, you know, it's not like I'm breaking through a window or anything, but like I got to do my own stunts, I got to do comedy, hopefully, I got to do intense stuff. It was, I got to do, it was, I mean, it really was like, wow, this is what I've always dreamed of, and it's what you dream of, to, you know, be the leading guy in a film, and it just, I got to do everything, and it was wonderful. It was hard work, and it was a great collaboration. And like you said, if we didn't trust each other, it would have been harder, another thing added. But it was just terrific. Yeah. I don't know if we answered your question.
that's all right.
The first time we worked really on it.
Answer yes.
Yeah. So what was the greatest challenge for the film? You don't have to go into great detail, but I think, Mary, there was a nude scene in the film for you, and that may be pretty difficult, especially the fact that your husband is also in the film. So what are the greatest challenges?
Here, I'll give it to you first.
Well, the greatest challenges for me did not have to do with Mary's nude scene, although that was certainly a challenge, and making sure that Mary was comfortable and that she trusted us and that she knew that we weren't going to misuse, that footage was certainly a very important. For me, this is the hardest thing I ever did in my life. Making a film on, I think we had for production about $45,000. We shot the film in 14 days. It looks and sounds incredible. I had a wonderful Chicago casting director who brought me some of Chicago's greatest acting talent. I mean, also in this film are Rebecca Spence and Janet Ulrich Brooks and Danny Goldring and Tony Fitzpatrick, and just an outstanding cast. Maury Cooper does an amazing job opposite Mike. But getting through those days, I worked 10 years on this screenplay. And in 14 days, it's like the pages are being ripped away from you because you've got to get those scenes in the can. And that was very emotionally and physically draining. It was really hard. And I say that as someone who's had a child and gone through that. This was a lot harder.
Yeah, the nude scene was incredibly difficult. Again, Ben made it, the set was just as bare as possible, no pun intended. And I was with Mike, which made me feel much better. But it was horrifying. And I haven't seen the final cut, but there was also a scene originally where we sang, and I don't know if that's still in there.
That's in there.
Okay. So I don't sing. After I read that I was going to have to sing, as horrifying as the nude scene was, I turned to Ben and I said, "Can I just be nude in this instead?" That was horrifying.
And for me, it was everything that I mentioned before about just getting to do all kinds of different things. You have to be in good physical shape, so it's constantly just being in good shape, eating well, keeping a good attitude in between scenes, rest, it's...
Physically,
yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to jump in Lake Michigan.
And I had to jump in Lake Michigan in the freezing cold weather.
It's not a clean body of water.
No, it's not. But it was, I think the 14 days, I was saying when we were coming, I was like, was it 11 days? He goes, I think it was 14. So then they were solid 12-hour days at least like they were just, it's brutal. Like, you do everything and then you show up and you have to have a great attitude for 14 days and it's a slog, and it's great. I mean, yeah, so that was the challenge, definitely, for me.
Well, I did like you, Mike, interacting with the elders and doing their chores. I thought that was a challenge.
Getting spit on by some of them.
Yeah.
Those actors were so great.
Yeah. Where did the title Fools come from? I couldn't link that.
You have two people who are both willing to fool each other and also willing to be fooled. I was also inspired by a song by the Dodos called Fools. And that's where it came from. It was a couple of fools. And, also fools fall in love, right? They were fools for each other. Do you guys have a better answer than that?
No, that's
great.
perfect.
That's perfect.
So go ahead and talk about your upcoming projects if you haven't any more. If you guys want to work together again for another film.
I have a couple of feature film scripts that are completed, that are ready to go. One of them is about a guy who wins the lottery and his family won't take the money, and he sort of has to figure out how to take care of people who don't want to be taken care of. And I have another one about two students who make a bet that one of them can sleep with their English teacher, their high school English teacher. So those are my two feature scripts, and I'm hoping to get those, find the right producers to partner with for those. I would love to work with Mike and Mary again. It was a wonderful experience, and I could only hope that someday we will have the opportunity to work together again. But that's what I've got coming up. What do you guys have coming up?
Well, my background is theater, and I am the associate artistic director of a theater company in Chicago. And
A
so,
wonderful theater company, Rivendell.
really, it's our 20th anniversary, so we're sticking it out, not going anywhere. And so I'm very, very active, obviously, with the theater company. Specifically, we have a show called Women at War that focuses on women in the military today that we launched at our theater last fall and have begun touring it. And we're started out around the Chicago area. It's an incredibly important show that we're very proud of, and I am part of that. So I'll be busy doing that and anything that Ben wants to cast me in.
So I'm available for the guy who's trying to get his family with the lottery. And I think I could play the high school English teacher.
There's a part for you in that.
Okay.
It's not the high school English. All
right.
It's her miscreant boyfriend.
Oh, nice. I like playing a miscreant.
You're
Yeah,
a miscreant.
I'd love to. I mean, I'd love to work with both of them. I know you're supposed to say that, but I really would. You know, Mary and I worked together a lot.
Worked together again. They were just in
Oh,
a
yeah.
really brilliant play together at Rivendell. What was the name of the play again?
It's called Eat Your Heart Out by Courtney Barron.
They were wonderful in that together. So they have since my film worked together again, and they were really brilliant in that, as they were in Fools.
And I'm writing some scripts, and I have a web series, and Ben doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to rope him into doing something on it. So.
All right.
One last question, Mike. You wore so many hats, literally, to do any singing. Throughout the entire movie, playing all these different characters with the guitar, and basically, your singing voice. What I want to know is, do you do this for your wife, Mary?
Of course I do. And I play guitar, and it's something like it's a hobby, and I enjoy doing it. And I've been playing since I was in college, and so I'll write songs. And I'll write actually serious songs for her, but then I'll write stupid things. And yeah, of course, you got to be funny or else you're sunk, right?
Okay, what's funny is he can sing and he can play the guitar. And in that scene where everybody sang, he was the only one who didn't have to.
That's right.
And Tony, who didn't know how to play the guitar,
Oh, my
had to
goodness.
play the guitar.
Yes.
It was the one musical person had to sit on the sidelines and do nothing.
I actually had to teach Tony how to play guitar
He had
for
to
the scene.
teach Tony.
Yeah, it's like just put your hands like that. No, that's good. That's good. Shoot it. Are you shooting? Okay. So it's great. Yeah.
Terrific. Hey, it's a great conversation. I want to wish you guys good luck during the film festival. It is a very good movie, and good luck with the future productions. Thank you.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Please come see Fools.